The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter.
And of course, without taking much of your time, we are going to go into the big issue of the day, which is the rising poverty in Nigeria, the federal government, governors, and the blame game. As usual, I'm your regular host, and with me here in the studio, our in-house analyst. We have your very regular Silas Ezewu and David Tucker.
Thank you for having me.
Well, in the past few days, beginning from Wednesday last week, the governors of the 36 states of the Federation and the federal government had engaged in a row over the rising level of poverty in the country. In the ongoing blame game, we have seen the Minister of State for Budget and National Planning, Mr. Clement Agba, blaming the state governors for the nation's poverty index. He said the governors had abandoned 72% of Nigerians' poor citizens in the rural areas, only to be building airports and flyovers. And of course, taking it from there was President Muhammadu Buhari himself, who the next day accused the governors of looting local government funds. Of course, just as one would have expected that the governors have just decided to keep mum, the state chief executive struck at the weekend when, at the end of the day, they accused the federal government of causing the poverty Nigerians are actually going through. The governors went to the extent of saying that it was President Muhammadu Buhari in one of his campaign promises that actually promised that the federal government under his watch will wriggle about 100 million Nigerians out of poverty. And according to the governors, the federal government should not blame the governors for its failure to leave Nigerians out of poverty, provide security, and make life better for the people. And in the statement issued by the spokesman of the Nigerian Governors Forum, Abdulrazak Barikindo, the governors said it is the federal government that in its campaign message in 2019 promised to take 100 million Nigerians out of poverty. Today, record shows that more than 130 million Nigerians are living below the globally accepted poverty line of $1 a day. Under the current administration that Mr. Clement Agba is minister, the national cash cow, the NNPC, had failed to remit statutory allocation to states in several months. The situation, the governor said, had compelled them to rely on other sources of revenue like the SFTAS program and other interventions anchored by the NGF to fund state activities, while monies budgeted for such federal ministries as agriculture, rural development, and humanitarian affairs are not being deployed in the direction of the people. Well, Silas, you can imagine this is in the twilight of their administration, just about 8 months to go. I think the federal government,
They still have up to it.
President Muhammadu Buhari, we're talking about between now till May 29. I think it's less than 8 months. You're right, Taka. A situation where the chief executives of the state and our own president and his administration have engaged themselves in what is practically bug passing. A situation where it's as if someone is trying to heap the blame on someone here, so that at the end of the day, by the time they leave office, they will go and feeling exonerated. But this idea of you are the cause of poverty, most Nigerians are of the opinion that government is government, whether at the federal level, at the state level, or at the local government level.
Yes, Judge.
what a very solid path we've come, especially under this PDP and APC government. In the last 23 years. Yeah, 23 years, 1999. So the American will say, who done it? when I 30 million or more, but I'm telling you that figure is more than that. They just give up something that they could not, go below. Law of statistics, being a government agency, you can know they must have even tried to pad this figure so it don't look so bad. Okay. Otherwise, so they say, who done it? Get to cut it for black and vice versa. When Buhari campaign that was going to lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty, a lot of us say that time, how does this government have even the intellectual capacity to fashion out anything? And they come up with one wishy-washy feeding program of giving 5,000 naira to some poor Nigerians. 5,000 naira in a month. In a country that 5,000 naira can hardly buy you pure water for 1 week. So I'm not surprised that they blame each other now. The government agenda has remained very much aloof to the cry of Nigerians, and the states who run the states at sub-general levels have nobody to check them. The state legislation is dead, and this institution is supposed to offer some kind of check and balance against the executive. Executives, everywhere in the world is known for ethics. It is the House of the Assembly, the legislature, the second arm of government that's actually put in place to hold them to account for every cover they spend, to carry out oversight on them, to make rules for them to implement, to look at the budget, assess and pass it, and get them to implement it. Over the years, the governments have come both at the federal level and the state level have gone away, have escaped with, have gone away with blue mother. Because that the person is supposed to check them to make sure that every money spent has impact on the community it's supposed to have impact on. They're dead. So, if to the point of even voting during the constitutional amendment process, of voting against its own independence, because governors had pocketed the House of Assemblies in all the statistics, so that even if a governor brings a budget today, they expect to pass the next day. I remember one governor even going to present his budget in shorts. So that's how long. So I think that the governors are. I believe that even the National Assembly before the federal legislature, before this rubber stamp have played even a bigger role in trying to check what at the federal level, the executive, but the state level is there, and that's why the governors are behaving like emperors. And you look at even the way they emerge, many of them emerge, but the governor has patterned their people at the government level, at state House of Assembly. So even if you say anything at that level, they'll just mark you out and deal with you. I remember in the Enugu State in 1999, 2000, during the regime of the then Chimaroke, there was one Chief or something who was trying to pose questions in the assembly, and then some goons trained him to kill him and mistakenly killed his brother. I believe the guy ran away, and that was end. No one else asked any question again. In fact, without taking much of that, at the time it was only this Falambaka now, the person about, it was only voice speaking against bad governance in the state as a whole. And the goons still tried to go and kill him. I even shot him directly. That God didn't allow him to die. So I'm just going back to show you that the governors at state level have become emperors, and they behave as they like. Before this poverty index came out, hostage you were talking about how governors, embark on white elephant because that is where they get their kickback. Instead of I will preach for you. If the pay costs 20 billion, they can make it look like 50 billion. And within them and between them and the contractors, they take the one away. I don't call it government, but that is understand. In fact, when you talk to anybody who is close to a procurement process, that's what say. So the real issue is that both the federal government and the state governments are at fault for where we are now. But government is not just one aspect; it's a comprehensive. Yes. Federal government has Nigeria since 1999 has been the superstructure of corruption. The way government money is squandered at federal level is like it doesn't concern me, it's Nigeria's money. That's why you have the biggest thefts in the history of Nigeria are happening at the federal level.
Thank you very much, Silas.
I'll just end now. The latest one being one of Nigeria, another one was the pension fund is there, even the oil subsidies scam, all of them are big billions being stolen at the federal level. The state governments are also doing their own. So I think that the whole is the question of cattle, calling pot black and vice versa. That's what it is.
Well, thank you very much, Silas. I think we'll be taking a very short break now. By the time we come back, we'll begin to see some of these points that the governors raised in defense of the allegations from the federal government and President Muhammadu Buhari. Don't go offline. We'll be back in a moment.
For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.
The Big Issue. Breaking down the issues that matter.
Welcome back. We're still on the big issue in Leadership Podcast. And of course, the big issue of the day is the blame game and buck passing between the federal government and state governors. Saka, you heard what Silas said, that both the federal government, the state government are to blame. But you see,
and I agree with that.
the Muhammadu Buhari's government hardly takes responsibility for its failings. That is what Nigerians are saying out there. Yes, and the idea here, Taka, before you come up, is that it is well known that the Buhari administration, Nigerians say they have known it as a government that is fond of making grandiose promises and then shifting blames to other parties and previous administration. But let's look at it. If you check what the federal government said about the state governors, especially the one in respect of tinkering with local government funds, you discover that the federal government has a point in what it is actually saying.
I said I agree with him, and of course I do. After agreeing with him, I think Nigerians, there was an average man on the street, that person in the village, does he even know that the government owes him a lot? He doesn't even know. So he's not even asking a question. You say he's the governor. This governor has been doing the wrong thing for the past 7, 8, 20 years. Or ever since you took over, you came to power, first 1 year, 2 years, 3. You never raised any eyebrow. This is your last, barely 5 months to go. And you're now saying it is the governors that have made your administration to fail to fulfill its promise. That is where I have an issue with the federal government. The governors, I kept saying, how can a governor go to an occasion and be donating millions? Whose money is that?
Who authorized this donation?
Who? Of course. But do we even ask those questions? The people we call civil society organizations, do they even ask those questions? They don't. Because, like he said, they are behaving like emperors. Because there's no rule of law. They feel they can do anything. They don't know that being on that seat is to serve the people. But rather, people now serve them, so they lost touch with reality. Yes. If you ask all the governors don't even know what people are passing through right now. Even though if you go to their immediate families, go to their villages, you still find people who are suffering. This figure that it is only the man's children, his immediate children, that are not poor. Every other person in his family is poor. Every other person is poor. He knows. But they weaponize poverty so that they can use every election period. So they're actually happy. It's not that whatever the federal government is saying, if the federal government also knows, and they did all these things together, they worked together to impoverish Nigerians. The federal government was doing a school feeding while children were at home one certain time during the lockdown. Did anybody ask any question? Did the federal government, if we had those agencies that are supposed to be asking those questions, the anti-graft agencies, did they even ask any question? Did they question anybody? No investigation. So I don't even think it's political. They're about to end their tenure, and they feel when this is election period, so Nigerians will start asking them questions when they go to canvass for votes. That's why they are saying all these things. But Nigerians, a few of the people that are in the city know better. But the bulk of the people in the villages, I don't think they even understand. These governors, this crop of governors now, I don't think all the projects are here are within the city. And even within the city, talk about Benue. As you know, you see River Benue, but go to Makurdi now, there's no running water. But we have a governor, he's bragging about achievements. You're not able to connect people within Makurdi to the water grid, and you say you've achieved something. Even if you can do that for the residents of Makurdi alone, you've done something. In a year, did they do that? No. Talk about the rural areas. The people still go to open their water bodies to fetch water to drink. And you now say you're helping the people. You've not constructed roads to those people. You've not given them electricity. You've not given them nothing. Have you even built an industry that will take care of the produce? Nothing.
And even employ the youth.
There's nothing that will employ all these people. But the governors are there taking the money. But are they the only ones taking? No.
Well, they have been building flyovers. Not as if they are taking the money now. Because even the federal government admitted that they have been building flyovers.
Those ones are there to do. Okay. What did they do?
Like in Benue, where is the flyover? There's no flyover anywhere in Benue.
Anyway, they use that flyover to refer to kind of
white elephants project.
Yes. For instance, they know where they can put the money to improve.
It will have an impact,
but they don't want to put it because they will not take glory.
I remember
they want to see I built this big.
I remember in the 90s.
That's what they want.
I remember in the 90s, governors were opening communities. They create roads to a community. Give them access road. Are they doing? Are the
roads have to generate business?
Well, the local government chairman, the local government administration is actually dead. Of course, it's dead. It's dead. And they are the closer to the people. So if they were functional, I think it will not be.
The local council chairmen are just lackeys of.
You know what? Another reason why I said the federal government is also complicit. Now, during local government elections, it is only the governor that decides whoever emerges
local government chairman. Of course.
They are not elected, they are selected.
And
there's an agreement between those people.
It's a way of that is why they can actually
there's an agreement
governors speaking. You know, here's what President Buhari said, silence.
They are selected.
The governors For instance,
And
now,
when these things happen, the federal government watches and
Mhm.
allows them to get away with those things.
Yes.
So they will continue. By the time you make sure, no, the governors, there should be a level playing field. Everybody should cast their vote. Choose the chairman that you want. When he gets there, you ask him questions.
thank you very much, Kaka. At least what Kaka says is actually making a point, because the governor has
And the
the
person will
sole
come and
right
say,
to
we
decide,
won, we cleared all the
to
seats.
determine who
And
becomes,
you're happy because you're the
to
ruling party.
become,
It
to
shouldn't be.
determine who becomes the local government chairman. Silence, and at the same time, you are the one who fires a local government chairman, and you've seen chairman, governor suspending a local government chairman.
As if they are so
as if,
administrators.
well, these are people that are
And
supposed
these are
to be elected
elected
with the people's mandate. Buhari said sometimes, let's assume 100 million is allocated to local government. The governor takes 50 million and then gives 50 million to the local government chairman. And still make the same local government chairman to come and sign and he collect 100 million.
I want to ask you.
These are the
What
things.
I'm asking is it today that Buhari found out about this?
That's my question.
This thing has been going on since 1999. Why is it now they're talking about it?
Even when
What
he
did he
when he
do?
when he
Why
became
did he do?
president 2015.
There was a time that Okonjo started publishing the money that goes to local governments. That was a way of telling people in the government, look, you have 220 million coming to a local government. Ask the chairman about it. They did it and blocked that. If they wanted to put pressure on the government,
You allowed
they could have published this thing. So if every day you go, you see my local government, there's 500 million coming this month. People will be like, what are you doing with the money? Then you tell the government has to do. But now they kept quiet. Now they are going.
People don't even know. People don't even know what gets to the local government.
So how would anybody know? So this is just doing just to make sense look somehow good.
The whole government administration in Nigeria is being run like a court, because everything is being shrouded in secrecy. Why are you keeping it a secret? If you want to do the right thing, why are you making it a secret?
And then let's look at what the National Bureau of Statistics actually came out with. The statistics released by the National Bureau of Statistics, which is actually a government's own agency, said that rather than the Buhari regime fulfilling its pledge to lift 100 million Nigerians out of poverty, it pushed additional 53 million Nigerians into abject poverty compared to 2015 when they came in. And these 53 million Nigerians, mostly of the middle class, had been classified as vulnerable before Buhari came. He pushed them into abject. You know what abject means? And that alone tells you that what the administration did was to do the opposite. Instead of wriggling the 100 million Nigerians,
make them comfortable. It now push them down.
Additional 53 million Nigerians into poverty.
That's what we call reverse achievement.
And then now, let's look at the governors who raised a very salient point about the administration. See what the governor said. They said, under the Buhari government, that Clement Agba is a minister, the national cash cow, which is the NNPC, failed to remit statutory allocation to states in several months. That the situation compared governors of the state to rely on other sources of revenue, like the SFTS program and other interventions anchored by the Nigerian Governors Forum to fund state activities. Then why money budgeted, such as the ones budgeted for agriculture, the Agri Ministry, and the Humanitarian Ministry, that is the Rural, the Humanitarian Affairs Ministry, were not being deployed in the direction of the people. But I think the point here is that naturally we know CBN had been talking about Anchor Boras program, so many schemes for agriculture, and then trying as much as possible to empower farmers.
Questions about the Anchor Boras.
Yes,
how much was disbursed? Yes. How much have they recovered?
We're talking of the Humanitarian Affairs Ministry.
Why are they talking about it now? Because they were criticized. They saw the wrong things going on,
but kept quiet.
Because all of them are involved. I said it's a question of cutting and pot, black. See, they are lucky that most Nigerians don't look into what's happening in government. Somebody told me, someone who was in government told that if you find out what goes on, you said, I bet you will never sleep with your two eyes closed.
That the Nigerians will start paying attention when governance actually goes to the local government. Where you stay here, you know your local government chairman is here. Anything happens to you, call him. you will know that. That's when Nigerians will start paying attention. Now, you want me to, because I want to complain because of any irregularity, I will now start coming to the city center.
But,
to go to FC, FC
Taka,
go and report
you know that is not even possible in this country.
We must get to that
as
place.
An individual, you call a local government chairman, they will start targeting you.
By the time,
next thing is not to end
how many people will you keep? When it gets to the local government level, when the money comes to the local government, and the local government, the governor is not working, of course, he's going to be supervised. If federal government should give local government those funds, first, the governor will also be watching. There will be an agency that will also be making sure the governor, the chairman does not corner that money to siphon. So now there are eyes watching you. So you also be careful what you do. So you use the money to run your area.
Knowing full well that
people are watching and they will ask you questions. But by the time we don't do all these things, it's going to be very difficult. Very, very difficult. Because you have the traditional rulers, you need to liaise with them. And then it will now go seamless. In a community, you know who to report to when anything happens.
Well, Silas, just as David Taka just said it.
There are no links.
What they are just doing here is mere politics. They know very well that another election is around the corner, and now they are not looking for who to actually put the blame on.
In the program last week was about they had a program and the president was saying that the Buhari government was not going to wait for other people to write its history. It was to write its own history by showing the achievement it has done. You know what I'm saying? So they're really trying to clean up this history, their history before they leave office. That's what they're doing. That's what the person they were trying to write their own history, before they leave office, so that whenever I want to add, they say, "Oh, I've done this one, done this one." So it's like I say, all about politics and the process of self-service. That's all.
Well, now finally,
I hope that our people can begin to learn to look more into what happens in governance, and like you said, begin to call them out. Because this idea Nigerians are not paying attention. That's why they can commit murder and get away with it. And that's what they're doing with governance in Nigeria.
So first of all, federal government should make sure they decentralize the governance, take it down to the grassroots. Let's know that the local government chairman is running the affairs of his own area. Then you have councillors. Some councillors stay within their communities. They go to work and come back. Anything happens, you come to your councillor.
So what's happening?
What are we benefiting from this thing? Then the councillor will go to the meeting and raise an issue.
Will devolution of powers? I think that is what he said.
Yes.
Will devolution of power be the solution? Because government as it is now, that is how it ought to be. The local government is just there. The local government councillors are just there. The local government chairmen are there. They are supposed to administer the affairs of the local government. The state government
started with a point.
Seems to have pocketed
how is the local government election conducted? The election is rigged. They select people they want. People who cannot oppose anything.
They need to abolish that they call joint local government and state account. Let's abolish it first of all. As the monies for states go, the same way the one for local government should go to them straight away. They should abolish that.
Presidential candidate of the PDP said in 1999 they brought that issue, and at the end of the day, the governors voted against the abolition of joint.
Because they know what they are gaining from it,
and they kept quiet.
So this is an opportunity.
That president, he kept quiet, and he saw that the money was filtered away by the governors, and he kept quiet, so that they will not, so that can have the support of the governors when they wanted to president, which never really worked out. So the issue is that they are putting their own interests ahead of the national government interest. That's the problem. So let them abolish it. Then two, of course, you need some. I think there's a law backing it. So if you need to repeat the law, joint states. Yes. So
we should repeal and bring the
then make local government administration a 4-year affair, like state government and federal government. So that as states are having their own
election,
those also have their own. So the governors will not have they will be more interested in campaigning for their own election. They're told of how to manipulate the government. You don't know you are going to emerge or not. So by the time you come to office, you arrive to your seat. The local government chairman arrives to his own seat. You don't have the control over him.
No, you now start negotiating. Come to the round table.
That is where we'll draw the curtain for today's edition of the big issue. Well, the ball is in the court of Nigerians. The 2023 election is inching closer by the day. And of course, INEC has made provisions for registration, and now it's time for collection of PVCs. I think the best Nigerians can do is to go get their PVC, go to the polls in 2023, and decide whether they should choose, they will still choose the same leaders, president, governors, local government chairman, state assembly members, or they will look and make the right choice of people that will come and choose to be accountable in terms of governance. Thank you for keeping tab with us, and of course, I actually thank our in-house analysts for addressing the big issue. Join us same time tomorrow for another edition of this program. Have a wonderful day.
Thank you for watching. For sponsorship and advert placements, please contact 080-3688-6158. Last Word Leadership Podcast Studio. You have the last word.